The fog clung to Willow Street like a shroud, muffling the world beyond the warped picket fences and sagging Victorian houses. It was midnight, the hour when my neighborhood shed its quaint, small-town skin and revealed something older, hungrier. I was 12, lying awake in my creaky attic bedroom when I first heard it. A low, keening wail that wasn't quite human, slithering through the cracked window pane. My heart jackhammered. I knew the stories. Every kid on Willow Street did. The kind of tales whispered at sleepovers, the ones that made you check the locks twice. But this wasn't a story. This was real, and it was calling from the shadows outside. I pressed my face to the glass, breath fogging the cold pane. The street lamp flickered, casting jagged shadows that danced like broken marionettes. There, at the edge of the light, something moved, a shape too tall, too thin, its edges blurring into the mist. It didn't walk, it glided, leaving no footprints on the damp cobblestones. My stomach twisted. I wanted to scream, to run, but my legs were lead, my voice a ghost in my throat. The thing paused beneath the lamp, and for one horrible second, it turned. No face, just a void where I should have been, staring right at me. Willow Street wasn't like other places. The adults pretended it was normal. Mowed lawns, block parties, PTA meetings, but we kids knew better. The neighborhood had a pulse, a rhythm that thrummed beneath the pavement, ancient and restless. Every house had its scars, claw marks on cellar doors, whispers in empty rooms, mirrors that showed things that weren't there. My best friend Lila swore she saw her reflection blink in the warped antique mirror in her dining room. She wasn't lying. I saw it too. The way her reflection's eyes lingered a fraction too long, glinting with something cruel. The stories went back generations. Old Mrs. Haverford, who lived in the sagging manor at the street's dead end, told us some when we were brave enough to knock. Her voice was gravel, her eyes milky, but her stories were sharp as knives. She spoke of the first ones, settlers who built Willow Street on land they shouldn't have touched. They dug too deep, she'd rasp, her bony fingers clutching her shawl. Woke something that don't sleep easy. The first ones vanished, but their houses stayed, soaking up the years and the secrets. Mrs. Haverford said the neighborhood remembered. It watched, it waited. That night, the wail came again, closer, curling through the fog like smoke. I grabbed my flashlight and crept downstairs, avoiding the third step that groaned like a dying man. My parents were asleep, oblivious, their snores a steady drone. I slipped on my sneakers, heart pounding so hard I thought it had burst. I had to know what was out there. Lila would have called me crazy, but Lila wasn't here. She'd stopped coming outside after the mirror incident, her laughter replaced by a nervous tick. The front door creaked as I eased it open. The fog swallowed me whole, thick and sour, like breathing wet earth. The street was silent, but not the good kind. No crickets, no wind, just a heavy, waiting quiet. My flashlight beam cut through the haze, catching glints of dew on warped fences and glinting eyes in the bushes. Or maybe they weren't eyes. I told myself they weren't. Halfway down the block, I saw it again. The tall, thin shape hovering near the old oak that marked the boundary between our world and whatever lay beyond. Its head tilted as if listening, and I froze, my flashlight shaking in my grip. The air grew colder, my breath visible in sharp puffs. Then a voice, not from the thing, but from the ground itself, a low murmur that vibrated in my bones. "You see me," it said. Not a question, but a fact, cold and certain. I ran. My sneakers slapped the cobblestones, the flashlight beam bouncing wildly. Behind me, the wail rose, sharp and gleeful, chasing me. I didn't look back. I couldn't. The stories flooded my mind. The girl who followed the whispers into the fog and never came back. The boy who saw his shadow move without him. The family in the yellow house who left one night, their furniture still warm, their plates still full. Willow Street didn't just haunt, it claimed. I reached my porch, fumbling with the doorknob, my hands slick with sweat. Inside, I slammed the door, bolted it, and sank to the floor, gasping. The wail stopped, but the silence was worse. It pressed against the house, heavy, alive. I stayed there till dawn, clutching the flashlight like a lifeline, listening for sounds that never came. Morning brought sunlight, weak and gray, but enough to make the neighborhood look almost normal. Almost. I didn't tell my parents. They wouldn't believe me. Adults never did. But Lila did, when I finally got her on the phone. Her voice was small, shaky. "It's been in my room," she whispered, "at night. It stands by my bed." I didn't ask what it was. I knew. We made a plan. We'd go to Mrs. Haverford, beg her for answers. She was our only shot. That afternoon we stood on her porch, the air thick with the scent of decay from her overgrown garden. The door opened before we knocked, and there she was, her milky eyes glinting like she'd been expecting us. "You've seen it," she said. No preamble. "The Watcher." She led us inside, her house a maze of dusty relics and flickering candles. Over tea that tasted like ashes, she told us the truth. The Watcher wasn't a ghost, not exactly. It was older, tied to the land, to the things the first ones disturbed. It fed on fear, on curiosity, on kids like us who looked too long into the dark. "It's patient," she said, her voice dropping, "but it's hungry." Mrs. Haverford gave us a charm, twisted roots and blackened stones, wrapped in a cloth that smelled of sage. "Keep it close," she warned, "and don't go out at night." We nodded, but I saw the doubt in Lila's eyes. She was tired of being afraid. That night, the fog returned, thicker, darker. I clutched the charm, its edges digging into my palm. The wail started again, but this time it wasn't alone. Footsteps echoed outside, slow and deliberate, circling the house. I called Lila, but her line was dead. Panic clawed at me. I grabbed my flashlight and the charm and ran to her house, fog swallowing my footsteps. Her front door was ajar. Inside, the air was wrong, too still, too cold. The mirror in the dining room gleamed, its surface rippling like water. Lila stood before it, her back to me, her head tilted. "Lila!" I hissed, but she didn't move. The mirror did. Her reflection turned, its lips curling into a smile that wasn't hers. The charm burned in my hand, and I threw it at the mirror. Glass shattered, the sound deafening, and Lila screamed, collapsing. The wail exploded outside, a howl of rage that shook the walls. I dragged Lila out, her eyes wide and unseeing, and we ran, the fog snapping at our heels. We didn't stop until we reached Mrs. Haverford's, pounding on her door. She pulled us inside, muttering prayers or curses. I couldn't tell which. The Watcher didn't follow, not that night. But Willow Street hasn't forgotten us. The fog still comes, the wails still echo. Lila doesn't talk much anymore, and I keep the charm under my pillow. Mrs. Haverford says it's only a matter of time before the Watcher tries again. It's patient, it's hungry, and it knows our names.